Hello everyone, this is Michael, and I was going to do a video on a university experience that I've been having recently, but I want to talk about this first, and it's important to talk about this because of the fact that this is a thing. It's a known issue that's currently happening, not just in the UK, but in the world, as we see. And it just seems like people are giving into their deepest, darkest urges. You've got all the crazies coming out of the woodwork, and you probably think to yourself, what do I mean by crazies? Well, crazies as people who think that being a racist piece of garbage is okay. Being a rapist is okay. Being a person who speaks about others who are poor and who are not in a better situation than you are being is okay. I came from a rather impoverished life. 4 kids from a marriage that broke down, ex-wife who basically did something very, very abusive to them with her now ex-boyfriend, getting rewarded custody by the state because they didn't view me as a good enough example because I'm a guy. That's the way that things operate at the moment in the United Kingdom. But it's not just that. That's not the biggest issue. I was working as an actor up until November 2019, where I decided it was enough. I need to pack my life and move because I was in a rather toxic relationship with a country that really didn't see itself as being a united front anymore. Brexit happened, where people voted for basically like, oh, we want freedoms, we are taken down by the EU, this is why we voted. No one knows why they voted. Actually, they do know, but they don't want to admit it. The reason they voted was racism. That's it. They don't like other people coming in their country and taking their jobs, the jobs that they wouldn't do anyway, because let's be honest, most work doesn't really pay that well. I've worked in every aspect of life, from retail to the NHS. I've worked as an actor, and the highest paying job I've ever had up until now was working as an actor, because acting, you actually earn more money at the bottom of the totem pole than you do at the top of the totem pole elsewhere. I have a drama degree. I'm working on an MA currently at the moment, trying to get it started, to be honest. But the opportunities that I was given were few and far in between. And also over the fact that people can just manipulate anything, If someone says a bad word about you, then suddenly you are shit. And mostly in my industry, when I was in the UK, my name was shit because of one individual who decided that it was okay for her to take away my earning potential and lie about me because she thought I was going to do the same about her, despite the fact that I kept quiet until she opened her mouth and basically decided to slander me to every person in an important position in movies and television and castings, etc., to the point where my earning potential was limited. But irregardless of all that, my biggest problem, the biggest toxic thing that I had to deal with in the UK was my relationship with the country and its adherent need to be racist and sexist to anyone. We are at a crossroads right now when it comes to the Western society. I know a lot of people look down on China and say, well, China's this and China's that. But we're no better. Like, this is the problem, right? We're no better. We look at everybody else and look our noses down at everyone and see ourselves as kind of elitist in a sense, that we have a better life, we have a better economy, at least our families aren't struggling and starving like families in third world countries. Well, we're turning ourselves into a third world country. We're trying to strip away the benefits, which basically only take 1 million a year from our existing income. We look at people who are trillionaires and billionaires and sit there and go, well, they shouldn't have to pay taxes. And we keep laws in place just in hopes that we get into that position because someday I'm going to become a Bitcoin millionaire or a stock millionaire or some sort of millionaire. And I have no fucking idea how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that. And thus, we take away the advantages from everyone in our position, from every middle-class person to every person at the bottom of the totem pole to people who are impoverished. I've seen homeless people spat on the streets in the United Kingdom. I've seen police try and freaking evict people from places that are basically public property, but they will do it anyway. Security guards, people who are basically racial minorities, treating homeless people like they are utter garbage because they are told to by a boss that has no control over them, that has no idea what their license entails. I've seen security guards who are racial minorities racially profile racial minorities because they think that this is okay. It's not okay. And I've been talking to people, and I'm not going to basically name names or anything because I don't think they want their stories getting out there, so I'm not going to name names. But this is happening on a constant basis. I am British born, I am British bred. I am a second generation Brit. My children are third generation Brits. But yet I am treated as I am a fucking minority in my own country. My family is treated as a minority in my own country. Because I'm not seen as white. You lavish over people like the royal family, where one of them has basically admitted that he's a fucking pedophile and there is no issues with him. They don't care. But yet a black girl basically says, hey, I've had enough of the royal family's racist bullshit. And she basically gets cheers off with her head. And she broke up the royal family and she's the Yoko Ono of the royal family. Do you listen to yourselves? Like, really? Listen to yourselves. Sometimes I feel like people, when they say bullshit, needs to basically take a stick-it note, get a stapler and staple it to their freaking ball sack so they can feel the utter pain that I'm going through because I'm getting an aneurysm by listening to your hateful spiel. I had a conversation, well, it was not really a conversation, it was an argument with a gentleman recently because he thought that it was okay to sit there and call George Floyd a criminal because maybe he had a criminal past. He didn't know this, but he was literally using that as the hill to die on because he felt that it was the right time after his killer had been basically charged with his death by a jury of his peers, decided, you know what, let's go out and say loads of racist shit, but I'm not a racist. And it's just like, Jesus, dude. And then people use conspiracy theories as a way to say, oh yeah, well, I understand conspiracy theories, but this is what this could be. And they use it to justify their racial hatred. And it's freaking insane. It's a mockery of everything we stand for. People take facts and don't believe any facts that they are given and now go to a YouTube channel where you've got some nut job who's trying to sell you some taint wipes to basically them and use them as fact. Facts are not based on opinions. Facts are statements that are effectively backed up by evidence. If you don't know this, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? There are a lot of people sit there and go, well, I didn't graduate from college, and it shows. It shows you didn't graduate from school. It shows you didn't graduate from college. It shows that you never sniffed an institution where there was a book because you don't read. No, you don't. If you're the type of person who has these types of opinions on people and have no factual evidence, but you use a video that someone made to justify your hatred, then you have a problem. You have a very, very big problem. And thus is this vicious cycle of hate that we are in right now. Now, currently, for most people who don't know, Scotland are actually looking to leave the United Kingdom. Ireland are still sitting there thinking, maybe we should do the same thing. So thus, if they pull away, you will have just Great Britain. Basically, the UK will be no more. And this has all started because of the Brexit vote, which again, no one understands what the fuck it was for. No one understands why they even voted in the first place. It was just there. And thus we have this conundrum. Thus we have this big issue. And thus we have what is going on. And no one is dying down from this. On the 24th of April was National Day. I can't even say it because I know that the video itself is going to get itself blacklisted and YouTube won't allow me to basically keep talking because they'll see it as propaganda. But yes, people on TikTok try to make it trend so that they could go out there and sexually assault another human being. I've had friends who have been mocked, insulted, and basically threatened by people with a badge. if you don't think that our institutions need to be cleaned up, and it's not just police, politicians need to be made accountable for their actions too. And thus we have a problem. Thus we have a conundrum. The best thing you can do is look at who you're voting for, look at what they have said and what they have done in the past. And thus, if they have done stuff that is counterintuitive, that basically has affected the economy in a very bad way because they are giving money to their friends for bullshit reasons, then you need to hold them accountable. It boggles the mind how we think that this is all okay. It's not okay. It is not okay whatsoever. It's one of the reasons why I left. I was left homeless. No one was giving me any opportunities. No one was giving me anything. I was told to fend for myself, and if I die, I die. That's it. I was left in a broken system that would not do anything for me unless I had mental disabilities or any other issues. I have anxiety, but I didn't want to say anything because if I did, I would end up in a situation where I would be limited to see my children, because being someone who had any mental issues, it meant that my ex could use it to say that I was harmful to my children. And I was told this by social workers. It's insane how the system is so goddamn broken that it seems that it basically helps the wealthy. And we are allowing it. We are allowing people like Boris Johnson, who is not an educated man, to go around, say nasty things, do nasty things, and say things and give money to people who literally produce nothing, who should be sued by the state so they can get that money back. And we're not talking chump change here. We're talking millions, but they let them keep it. But a dude who's basically down on his luck and who needs to claim benefits so he can find himself another job and at least pay his rent for another month. No, that's not okay. This pandemic should have opened people's eyes right now. It should have opened your eyes and made you believe, look, this is a problem. We need to fix it. But instead it's driven us more further and further apart from each other, from reality, and basically to our own bullshit ideals. You should not be talking down to anyone, regardless of race, regardless of creed, regardless of color, and regardless of sexuality. And I'm talking about people in consensual sex. The people who call themselves MAPS, and we know who they are, can go fuck themselves. And as far as I'm concerned, they can burn in a ditch somewhere. Stop making this acceptable. The blame lays on you and me. Everyone like me. From the mothers to the fathers, the people who inherently are selfish and goes, well, at least my family's okay, so why do I give a fuck? Speak up. If someone is being harassed near you, if you are at a local store and you see the fucking security guard harassing your friend, then you need to fucking speak up. If you are a cashier who works for a grocery chain and you see a customer being harassed because of the color of their skin or their gender or whatever, you fucking need to speak up. This is not going to go away, and it won't go away until we say no. We can't make it so that every fucking celebrity on the planet has to raise their voice and say, this is unacceptable, and then something gets done. It should be dealt with on a ground level. Stop worrying about that fucking job of yours. If it means that you're going to keep a rapist or a pedophile or a sexual fucking deviant in a position of power, then maybe you need to reconsider your job. It's the Weinstein situation all over again. And it's basically a local level. Shops, businesses, even the police. You can't allow these people to keep doing this and say, well, it's fine, it's only one. All it takes is one. All it takes is one person. And it starts from the ground up. Hold everyone accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Because the more this keeps happening, the worse it's going to be. And as a father who has daughters of his own, I'm living in a world where I'm fucking afraid of what they're going to experience when they get older. And it's shocking. Fix up. You claim to be the country that is better than everyone else, then freaking show it. Show that you're mentally woke, that you're fucking awake to the situation and stop letting the bad people get away with shit. Just because they have millions doesn't mean they're not accountable. Just because they have loads of money and are part of the elite crust shouldn't mean they shouldn't be held accountable, because they're a producer on the movie and they're making your opportunities amazing. They should always be held accountable. Weinstein got away with everything he did because he was never held accountable up until the point where he became a problem for people in his company. So they let the information out. Don't think that the reason why Weinstein was held accountable was because of people, normal people like you and me. It wasn't. It was because of his board of directors who wanted to make sure that he did not get away with this, because they were fed up with him. Enough is enough. All I can say, do better. UK, do better. US, do better. Because the more we let this happen and the more that people get away with this shit, the worse it's going to get. Hell, I knew a guy who was a racist, chauvinist pig, and he was Puerto Rican. And he was living in the United States, and he agreed with everything the Republican Party and Trump said. He believed Trump spoke for him as an intellectual, when he's about as much of an intellectual as a fucking wasp. And no offense to wasps. But it blows my mind. And I parted ways with him. I literally roasted the shit out of him and got him out of my life, because I knew what he was going to become. And I wouldn't be surprised, you know. Another guy I knew, Rudy J. Ferretti, look him up. There's news stories about what he did and how he took someone's life and his own because a girl wanted to break up with him. These people need to be called out for their shit, and we need to walk away from them. And we need to make sure that they feel isolated, that they understand that we're not going to take their shit so they don't do this again. Well, in Rudy's case, he can't do it again because but someone lost their life because people did not speak out. He was a garbage human being, but no one did anything. Just because you're holding one person accountable doesn't mean you're holding the entire police structure and accountable for these actions. But if there's a bad cop, you need to speak out. There shouldn't be, we're bros. No. If he's a fucking rapist or if he's going around killing people, you need to speak out. If there's a politician who is doing something, stealing money, they need to be held accountable for, and they need to pay that fucking money back. Stop abusing people who need help, and start using that voice of yours to freaking take out those who are using and abusing you. Enough is enough.